Beauty is the link that unifies us with nature. It gives the heart the arguments to let the mind involve itself into a program of action. If you're in a very antagonistic environment, you're confronted with the power of nature in such a way that makes you very humble. The real issue is to give people access. And if it's just a visual access, whether it's in film or photographs, then it's an invitation to the voyage. And that voyage takes us closer to our DNA connection with nature. Most people will not be confronted with especially big nature, and no place is more evidently that than the polar regions. My work purports to bridge the gap, the geography between faraway exotic landscapes and where we live here in the comfort of our homes. It's trying to generate a link that stimulates both curiosity, excitement, emotions, and a sense of connection that may lead to some desire to protect it, some accountability to do so. As a pole explorer, you have a direct visual reference of transformation from climate. The loss of the sea ice, particularly on the Arctic Sea, is very, very tangible. From how it was the first time I visited these places almost 30 years ago to present. The seasons are shortened, the thickness of the sea ice is greatly reduced, and the danger for somebody like me traveling on it increases. The biodiversity that you get to witness there is one that has been around for so long and now suddenly so vulnerable to our activities. And of course I think of the poster child for climate change, which is the polar bear, but let's not kid each other. This extends to the entire biodiversity chain, whether in the polar regions of course or anywhere else in the world. We have a large team of experts across various fields of climate science telling us that 1.5 degrees threshold relative to pre-industrial temperatures globally is essentially the limit to where our systems can still balance themselves out. That sort of threshold of temperature at 1.5 is a target that is imperative, and it's incontrovertible if we want to reduce the damage that we're inflicting, which will impact all of us, because climate change has no passport. When you look at climate problems, issues as they relate to society at large, I think environmental justice is at the very center of our concerns, because invariably it is the more disenfranchised communities who are the frontline bearers of the consequences of climate change. And that's especially true in the north, where the Inuit, the Inuit population, all these northern populations are being challenged for their livelihoods because of the change in seasonal cycles. The shortening of the freeze cycle, which makes the sea ice melt quicker. The sea ice is their favored hunting ground, and let's not forget that they rely entirely on hunting for their survival. And then if you come to our sort of more moderate latitude, it's always also where the real estate is cheaper, that the air or the soil is more contaminated, where more refineries are there contaminating air with carcinogens, and so low-income communities are the first to suffer from it. Pollution is both visible, what you see on the ground, and invisible, what happens in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is, as we have it presently, is primarily oxygen, nitrogen, water vapors, argon, carbon dioxide. Any imbalance in that delicate balance, which has led to the explosion of multicellular life about 541 million years ago, is a challenge to all living things. We need to deliver solutions that facilitate a transition towards a sustainable economy and a sustainable future.
Among the many programs the UN has supported, a great case study for climate action is in Cape Verde. In partnership with the International Investment Bank of Cape Verde, the UN Joint SDG Fund raised $3.5 million US to supply affordable, small-scale loans to micro-entrepreneurs and startups in coastal communities. And in partnership with Cape Verde's stock exchange, the joint fund helped to create BlueX, a sustainable finance platform that has raised over $26 million US in capital markets and aims to become a regional and international platform to support sustainable projects.
At the end of it, what it all boils down to is the individual. We have to take stock of our individual responsibility and especially our desire to better the world. I don't think that should be too much of a stretch. And for those who think that they are not significant enough, I'd like to quote the Dalai Lama, who said, if you think you're too small to make a difference in the world, try falling asleep with a mosquito. My work as an explorer has placed me in a very confronting place of witnessing the transformations in the natural world, and specifically on the sea ice. This is really one area where you can tangibly see transformations. And in my field, we say that if you want to see what's going to happen in the world in the next 30 years or so, look no further than the ice. I actually would say that perhaps this saying has become a little antiquated, because you need to look no further than your own backyard.